What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast from RAF ESPARZA coming to you on this wonderful Wednesday. We are super stoked to have you guys. And yeah, we got another episode of the Bullpen ready for you. Now, you may be asking yourself, Raf, why did you get all fancy? Well, I mean, it's a formal occasion. What am I, a farmer? Listen, guys, you want to get in a suit when you want to talk about big events. And today we do have a big event coming up. And yes, I will be doing a little bit of a fight companion for the Fight Pass Invitational. But before we even get there, a few little notes and reminders. First, if you like the show, like, comment, and subscribe. And you may be seeing myself on somebody else's channel. Like, if you're watching Inside BJJ, you're used to seeing this guy. And if you were looking at us from Jake Watson's channel, you're used to seeing this guy. But now we're on all of the channels because we want to make sure we spread the love. So if you're joining us from a new place and you don't know who I am, my name is RAF ESPARZA. Let's go ahead and introduce our other panelists. This is Jake Watson. Jake, how are you doing, young man?
I am doing fantastic, Raf. It's great to be live on the Jake Watson Media YouTube channel.
No, hold on.
Great to be live every week.
Let's be very clear. I can turn that off very quickly. Can I tell you something here, Jake, that I realized as I was looking you up because I wanted to give you a like on your YouTube page. I noticed that you're not even the most popular Jake Watson. Like, there's no other Grappling Hour. I'm the Grappling Hour. Yeah. Who's this other dude? It looks like it's a cowboy.
I don't know. I know that actually, funny enough, there was a guy named Jake Watson who died December 5th.
Oh, no.
Or no, he was born December 5th, and I was born December 6th. So I took his spot, you know? Now, he was a famous mountain biker named Jake Earthquake Watson. He's a very good person. Wow. This is not funny.
All right. No, well, you know, you told it funny, so that's why we're laughing. Obviously, death is a very sad thing. The only reason I bring it up is just because I'm staring at this right now. And just so you know, I literally sent it to myself just so that everybody could kind of see what I'm referring to here. And just so they know, I'm not fully crazy. But Jake, I need you to explain. Like, look at this dude. This is the dude that comes up when I look for Jake Watson. What are we supposed to do with this, dude?
Well, do you, Raf, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with this. Have you ever heard of a company called Corridor Digital?
I don't think so. No, what do they do?
So they do like special effects, VFX videos. They worked with like Freddie, I don't even know, Freddie W., who was really popular on YouTube for making all these crazy special effects videos. He worked with them. And one of the guys that's responsible for Corridor Digital is named Jake Watson. And so it's like, all right, well, that's and these guys are not Jacob Watson. They're Jake Watson, which is crazy too, you know, because my name is just Jake legally. It's not Jacob.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say you've got some work to cut out and do right there, but not low on the SEO search list is one Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing pretty well. The number 2 Tim Freeman, whoever that guy is behind me, was pulling me down last week. It was almost RIP to me, but the streets brought me back. The grave couldn't hold me, so I'm back again. I'm feeling healthy, and I'm stoked to be here today, man. It's great to be back with both of you.
You know, so here's the thing, dude. We all have different personalities, and I feel like we're all according to plan here. Like, Jake, sport coat, nice shirt, looks like he's about to probably give you a nice TED Talk. Me, always going to be the classic suit, tie. That's what I do. Tim, the amount of personality in your shirt right now, it's off the charts, and it's a good way to return back. I believe somewhere in there, it's a fine Toucan Sam in the shirt somewhere. It's a Fruit Loops in itself. Gents, well, I have to say it's very nice to have reunited the band. I feel like we should just get to the board because we need to get one of you guys out of here sooner than later. But the board looks as such. What have you been up to? Everybody here was off doing side quests. Everybody had something to do this weekend or was dying. So I figured we'd take our first opportunity to start asking you guys, what have you guys been up to? And I guess we should start with the very popular and very, very loud and vocal one Jake Watson, who was leading the charge over at Who's Number One this weekend, sir?
Well, that was definitely a lot of hats and a lot of responsibilities across that weekend. I led the pre-show alongside Kendall Rusing, and that was fun. I took a lot of the experience.
Feel? You cheater doing another pre-show without us.
I know. And I saw that, Jake.
I actually, well, okay, before you guys freaking hound me, let me give you guys some praise real quick. Every time I did the pre-show before, I felt very uncomfortable, and I had to like get comfortable right before the broadcast. But what's funny is I led the broadcast more easily than I ever have before. And it was because I've taken a lot of notes from TJ DeSantis, but I've taken a lot of notes from you, RAF ESPARZA. And I feel like it's so easy to guide a broadcast when you just be yourself. I was trying to be almost like a more professional version of myself, but I was just being myself out there. It was a lot of fun. And then ring announcing, I actually, I want to tell you guys this, for the first time in a long time, because you know how you still get that healthy nervous energy before you go out on a broadcast, but you're not crippled by it. You're not shaking, right? I actually was holding my cue card for the ring announcing, and I was shaking. I was like, oh my God. I was like, whew, man, I haven't been this nervous for something in a long time, but I was having a very, very good time. It was exhausting. By the time the show was over, I was ready to go to bed.
I mean, you definitely stayed up and you were rewatching part of it with me, and I thought that was very nice. But I did, I said we would talk about it on the show. You did hit someone with a T-shirt. Tim, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but our boy got assigned T-shirt gun duty, and by guns, it was his own arm.
Oh,
and he was throwing them out here. Now, you can see it in the top right-hand corner here.
Let's see
now,
this.
Can you please tell us what happened here? Because I'll defer a minute for you to explain what happened.
Okay. Here's what happened. As the ring announcer, you would think that your job would be limited to blue corner, red corner, winner, right? They are like, hey, you got to announce like this trivia time. You have to go out in the center of the mat with a box of T-shirts, and you got to throw T-shirts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll just throw some T-shirts. I didn't think that the crowd, it wasn't a huge crowd of who's number 123. The College Park Center is a very big arena. They didn't sell out. But, you get out there and you think, who's going to want T-shirts? Everybody came alive like rabid animals. They were like, me, come on, me. And like, dude, old women, children, men, they're all just gunning for it. So I got really excited because there was, a group of like people, and I'm throwing it to the back. And then I beam it at this lady's head, and it hits her square forehead. Like, just really dings her in the head. And I felt super bad about it, but I had to keep going because I had to give, in the first block of T-shirts, I had to get rid of half of it, and then the second block, the rest of it. But I get done and I go sit back down, and I then immediately get up and I'm like, hey, listen, ma'am, I'm going to give you a T-shirt. I'm going to underhand you one next time. I am so sorry. And she's like, yeah, you hit me in the head with the T-shirt. I'm like, I know, I'm really sorry. I was really into it. It got really intense. Wow. It got carried away from me. And she's like, yeah, okay. And she was a very pleasant woman.
I'm glad that you hit Edith Bunker slowly to get a T-shirt.
Yeah.
I want to point this out though, that Jake, the look of fear in your eyes made me nervous for you. Yeah. But then it was you having the defensive look of like, oh no, I'm so sorry. And you can't do anything else. And you go, well, I got to finish giving these T-shirts out.
I have a job to do. I got to at least finish my shift.
Like, this dude was given a fucking military assignment. It was just like, I'm sorry, ma'am. We don't have time to stop this thing for you. These T-shirts got to get out to these orphans. So I definitely was laughing very hard.
Casualty of war.
Tim, what were you up to while surviving, I guess we should say?
I was convalescing more or less. Tried to get out, didn't get out too much, but I was able to watch Who's Number One on Friday night. I was able to check out Jake Watson. I thought you did an outstanding job. It was pretty dope to see you out there, and I thought overall it was a pretty entertaining card. On Sunday, I just willed myself to Holy Rollers, and I told myself that I was going to train. And I got like 8 or 9 rounds in, so I felt pretty good about that. Didn't do anything major beyond that. Pretty much took the weekend pretty slow, man, because I was under the water pretty bad there. But I'm back.
I mean, you are definitely back, and I'm happy to see that. Over the weekend, I got to do a commentary team with John Evans, the great John Evans, for Star 60. So we were able to commentate some MMA together. Always super fun. We had a blast. Only one fight broke out into the stands, and it was a fighter that we know who's on the Subversive card. No big deal. It's fine. Looked very staged, but I don't know. What do I know? I just laughed a lot. And then all of a sudden I saw him in a photo just being like, banned for life here, ? So good news. We don't actually do events at the Commerce Casino for Subversive. So A+ there, but it is very funny to be doing an event and somebody goes, did you see the fight? And I go, yeah, they're right in front of me. They go, no, this fight. Oh. So anyway, did that. And then I just got back from San Diego. We did a nice little scout for the upcoming Subversive 11. Yeah, 11, man. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And also got to, didn't get to train, but I went to go do an interview with Anthony Orozco, who's a very, very solid athlete who fights for Cage Warriors. So that, my friends, brings us all back up to date. But I think it's time to find out some more of what's happening in the world, which means we're going to go to our next topic, which is right here. If you look at it, what was your favorite moment from Who's Number One? I'm going to start with you because, Tim, you said you were watching it, so I'd love to know what your personal favorite moment from Who's Number One was, sir.
My personal favorite moment was watching Nicky Ryan get the sub on JT Torres. You know, the thing is, like, JT's one of those guys who's super hard to submit. He's hard to beat already. He's not an easy dude to beat. There's very few people who have wins over JT Torres, and to see Nicky Ryan come out and get that sub and see that raw kind of response from him, it almost seemed like he had a weight that was lifted off of him, and it was a cool sub too. Like, got him in that honey stick formation. JT was stuck. I don't even know if Nicky like intended to set it that way. Regardless, he found it and got the ankle lock. I thought it was a pretty cool victory for him. For as much, trash as people like to talk about the B team and New Wave at that, Nicky Ryan seems like he's a pretty decent dude who's at least trying to make progress. He's had a lot of injuries lately, so it was pretty cool to see him go out there and get a victory over a big name like JT. So that was my moment.
I have to feel a lot of people felt the same way. Obviously, I've known Nicky for a long time. I like what he does. Definitely respect him. Love the shit out of that kid. But he got my boy JT. And a little dagger to the heart where it's just like, oh, man, I forget. Sometimes somebody has to win and lose, and they're always friends. But it was dope. I mean, you were right. You don't see JT get caught very often. So it was definitely something that I don't know if it caught us by surprise, but it definitely was unexpected. And here's the nice part. I wonder if that's the kind of stuff that makes JT come back even hungrier for ADCC. So you see those things happen every once in a while. Jake, I'd love to ask you what your favorite moment from Who's Number One was.
So, yeah, I think that the JT Torres Nicky Ryan fight was absolutely incredible. Nicky Ryan having that weight lifted off of him is such a great point. I also think that the headline of the undercard, Achilles Rocha versus Cameron Couch. Achilles earns the fastest Who's Number One submission in history. I believe it was 16-second armbar off of a takedown. If he's on another undercard, it will be a travesty. I think that he is ready for high-tier competition. Speaking of the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, he has a victory over PGF World Season 6 champion Andy Varela. Give Achilles Rocha the big matches, man. Having the entire Rocha family on the same card was also very cool. I mean, you have Achilles leading the main card, Jasmine being the premier female match, and then Wagner being the main event. It's got to be such a cool, humble, and proud moment for Wagner to be able to lead his children in that way. So I think that the Rochas were the highlight of the event, but Achilles Rocha definitely had the highlight submission.
Fair enough. I'll just tell you my favorite moment from Who's Number One, and it is the photo in that corner. It was the moment that Jake realized that he hit the lady. Because listen,
is that on Flow?
Oh, it's 100% on Flow.
Yeah, they live streamed it. They don't usually do that, but they had the cameras rolling. They're supposed to have like that. The event will resume shortly, but they incriminated me completely. It looks like I'm trying to force choke somebody.
So I didn't mean to talk over you, Raf. Go ahead. But
I mean, listen, what more is there to say? Look at that photo. It's brilliant because you don't need any context. You know, something went wrong here. And when you see the look on Jake's face, you just know the horror that's happening in his eyes. And I thought, well, guys, we don't even need to do any more Who's Number One. That's clearly the best part. But I would say shout out also Andrew Tackett. Andrew Tackett going up against another game, freaking Tom and Langaker, and just being a savage. Like that kid, I think I was interviewing Cody Steele recently, and Cody was the one to say it. He goes, the way he won ADCC was he decided to not go for as many dumb things because he always likes to entertain the crowd. And he mentioned, he goes, for ADCC, he said he's not going to do as much like for the crowd. He's going to do it to win. And I think you're seeing a maturity happen in him that is going to go a long way. So I'm very happy to see what that is. I want to just take a moment to go ahead and bring up a couple comments that we got here. And the first was from our good friend Keelan that says, I know things are serious when the suit and tie is out. Absolutely, sir. So Absolutely. You know that. But I mean, of course, I'm the one who is doing that. And then I got this note here, and this will transition nicely because we're about to get into a question about Nicholas Marigali. But it says, Nathan Chung going to beat Mika. So any responses to that? Jake, do you have anything to that?
I do not think that Natan Shuang has as good of a chance versus Mika Galvão as you could say that bold of a statement. Natan Shuang, I believe he won. No, I don't know if he won Pans, but he was in the final of the Pan American Championship. Now, if you're talking about the IBJJF World Gi Championship coming up, I imagine that's what you're referring to. Natan is very by the book, very technical. He's a very good competitor, but Mika Galvão has that it factor. And I do not think that Mika Galvão is going to lose the World Championship this coming June 1st. I just don't think so. I think he's going to go out there, and I think he's going to win.
Strong words there. Take that, audience member. All right. So,
I feel like my words were not nearly as strong as Natan Shuang's going to beat Mika Galvão.
That's fine. But you know what the hard part is? When you start calling things who's number one, the inherent answer is always, no, he's not. Like, that's how this is supposed to go. Like, no one's just supposed to be like, he's number one. Well, we settled that. Nothing more to do here. Like, it's the inherent, if you're at the top of the mountain, everybody's going to be like, this dude, he's going to fall. And you go, okay, prove it or show it or let's see it or let's hear your argument. So I think you espoused that nicely. And to Natan, I'm very sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I bet you don't know how to pronounce mine, but in all fairness, I am an idiot. So there is that. Let's go now to our next topic, which is going to be, I think, as we mentioned, a nice segue. Very simply, can anyone stop Marigali? Okay. Now, I'm not just talking about like spell check, because that seems like the first thing that could stop him, if anything could. But we're trying to figure out who here is able to stop him. I don't think Wagner was going to be the person to beat him, and we saw as much. But Wagner's always up for the match, so that made him a game opponent. And yes, they had some trash talk back and forth. I just wasn't super excited about this as a main event. Having said that, does that signal that it's harder to match him up? And yes, he is backing up what he is saying in terms of being that unbeatable. Tim, I ask you this. Who, if anyone, can stop Marigali right now?
You know, that's a good question. I think that there probably is an issue right now finding guys that want to fight Marigali. I think, let's see, he was at FPI 6. Was that against Mateus Diniz that he competed against? I think it was him, and he looked fantastic. He talked a lot of trash. I know Wagner stepped up, but Marigali's quite a bit larger and younger than Wagner Rocha. So, you know, I personally wanted to see Wagner because I just want to see Wagner do all of his. I want to see him come out to the worship song and then slap a dude around for 10 minutes. It's one of my favorite things. And the family all hugs. It's freaking great. They got a good thing going. I really actually do believe that. I'm a big fan of theirs. But outside of that, I think right now only Marigali can stop Marigali. I don't know what happens if Gordon ever decides that he's going to come back or he's able to come back actively, because that would be a great match to see, but we probably won't be able to see that. I think what we're really seeing is Marigali's trying to step into that role. I just don't see anyone beating him anytime soon. He looks freaking fantastic right now.
Copy that. Jake?
Well, due to what Tim had described, and I think he did it accurately, that matchups matter. And a lot of the agents and a lot of the coaches of these athletes will try to provide their athlete with a good matchup, right? Now, there's some athletes who are a lot hungrier and want to fight way bigger competition, but Nicholas Marigali is in a very unique spot right now where he is trying to take the mantle of the one that Gordon Ryan has effectively left behind as he figures out his health issues. Now, I think that there are two key athletes that I think about at least giving Marigali a very real threat, because Mateus Diniz has struggled a little bit in competition as of late. Wagner Rocha is in his mid-40s. These are not competitors in the same sort of era as Marigali, who's in his late 20s, approaching his prime. That's, I guess, what I think about. Nicky Rodriguez and Craig Jones are two athletes that I think that if they approach this training camp very seriously, which Nicky Rod is taking on Mason Fowler, so he's got his own thing to worry about. But Craig Jones and Marigali had a great match at ADCC. The reason why I think Nicky Rod's an interesting matchup is because Marigali struggled against Yuri Simoes, who is known for his great wrestling, and Nicky Rod has great wrestling. So I think that a lot of the time when we see Marigali winning, it's because he's able to dictate when the fight goes to the ground, primarily in Nogi. He's able to kind of get the takedown and be on top, put that pressure. I'm interested to see how he would deal with the wrestling approach of somebody like Nicky Rod and how he would deal with the guard of somebody like Craig.
So one thing that struck me is there was talk about with him and Wagner in the press conference. We started saying something to the effect of, Wagner's like, oh, his English isn't very good. And he's like, I've been here for a while. And he's like, right, but it's not good. And they go back and forth. And I thought, this is such a weird, get up to have. And then Marigali went into the well, my English is better than your jiu-jitsu and you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long time, which isn't a bad line. But the amount of celebratory, victory lap he was taking was hey, bud, let's slow down. You know what I mean? That's a good jab. Mm-hmm. That's not a good, knockout. It's okay. And at the same point, yeah. I'm just looking at it and I go, I don't care who it is. I don't even want the press conference with him. He's already doing it on social media. We're good. Just go straight to the match. Yeah. We're fine on these because it's just coming off so cringe and it takes away from, I think, how good he is as an athlete. I know we like to tell people a lot of learn how to sell yourself. I think the mystery for him is actually better for him. Now that I've seen the secret sauce, I'm nope, seen it. I got it.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
No, you know what? The less I know about you, probably the better I want to see you because we're in that space now. Jake, you have look on your face.
The goofy thing is about Marigali is that he will, in the build up to the fight, and part of it is kind of funny because he has this broken English that he types out, but he's talking about himself, calling himself God and all this very narcissistic. I mean, it just is what it is, comments. And then after the event, so the event was at the College Park Center, which is where the Dallas Wings WNBA team practices a lot of the time. And he is shooting hoops with me. And he is dreadful at basketball, but he's having such a good time. He's like, no, I got to make it. I got to make it before I leave. I can't leave without making it. And he's just red in the face, kind of he can't make the shot and he's getting kind of flustered. And I'm like, dude, this is the same guy who just went out there and won the main event. And he's a child here. He's acting like a kid. It's just so funny, the dichotomy between the two,
I would like to point out that the unnecessary part of that story was, we were playing basketball and he was doing bad, which by proxy does mean I was beating him at basketball.
He spanked me.
I did beat him at this game.
Well, we didn't play a one-on-one because if we played a one-on-one, I would not let him live it down and I would do a Marigali to Marigali.
Just, you know what?
Humble brag.
Yep. I was like, we know who the Marigali of this show is. I think we've discovered that very quickly here.
I could take him in a t-shirt throwing contest any day.
Yeah. Nope. Move on. I don't want to do anymore. I've done the t-shirt materials. Yes, he might have killed Maud Flanders as well. We don't know that for sure, but we now go to today's big showcase moment, which is there is a Fight Pass Invitational. And I want to ask both of you guys, what are you looking forward to most at the Fight Pass Invitational tonight? Jake, we start off with you, sir.
I'm looking forward to Jonatas Gracie stepping in versus Jay Rodriguez. I believe that Jonatas is stepping in for Ronaldo Jr., if I'm not mistaken. But you guys can correct me on that. Okay, so I'm correct. Score. But I think that Jonatas Gracie is a very interesting matchup change. Ronaldo's very much known for being a fast-paced, in-your-face, just throwing a bunch of different options at you passing-wise until you get overwhelmed, and then he's able to find his opening. Jonatas is more of that slow sort of, he's going to get tight and make you just kind of crush you, right? Now, Jay Rodriguez has phenomenal wrestling and limited gas tank, and he's got the ability to mitigate those options on both ends. But I will say that I don't know if Jay's ever fought Jonatas, but Jonatas has a physical strength. I said it on the Who's Number One pre-show that I think JT Torres is probably what I've heard unanimously from people who have trained at Autos and trained with JT, that he is the pound for pound strongest dude to come out of that camp. But I've also heard Jonatas in that conversation. So I think Jonatas is a very, very strong human being. I think he's got great jiu-jitsu. I mean, he's beaten Oliver Taza on the Who's Number One stage. I believe Who's Number One 17 or 18. I'm excited for that matchup.
Fair enough. Tim.
There's only one matchup on the card tonight. No disrespect to any of the. I love everyone on the card. I think it's awesome that Hanato Canuto and his wife Raquel are fighting on the same card. That's freaking cool. Jiu-jitsu is becoming a very family-oriented thing. But the fight that counts is Mason Fowler against Nick Rodriguez. Nick Rodriguez called Mason out after FPI 6. He said he wanted to fight him. And on top of that, Fowler was supposed to fight Gordon Ryan, and Gordon pulled out, and Fowler never got the chance to fight him. Fowler has submitted everybody who's come through his path. He's a top-notch competitor. He's one of the elite guys in the world at that weight class. I'm super stoked to see this. I think it's going to be a huge test for Nicky Rod. I think he's going to have a difficult time with Fowler, and I think it's going to be a pretty big moment for Fowler if he could get the win. I'm really anticipating that fight. I've been waiting to see this for a minute.
You know, this was one where you immediately sympathize with Mason, where you said, hey, man, he really should have gotten his shot. And then you understand things being what they are. It's not a bad makeup. It's not a bad, hey, this is what we've got going on. I would also point out, anytime you can see Canuto on the card at PGF Friend, you can also see Giancarlo. He's going to be on that card as well. Like, we have a lot of people on there. And for J-Rod, you know, he was complaining that he can't really get good matches. And I got to tell you, I feel like that's going to close up very quickly. I feel like a lot of people are going to step up. And I interviewed somebody yesterday who said, hey, will he take the reverse? I'm only a blue belt, but I fight for a living. Would he do that for me? So I feel like once you open that Pandora's box, you may start getting more and more people chirping at you. So very excited for that. And also Ali Taza is on that, and Helena is on that as well. So like, it's a very fleshed out card. I'm very stoked to be doing a full fight companion for it, because I don't know. I mean, I look at it on paper and I just think there's a lot of intriguing matchups, and yes, we're very excited for that main event. But I mean, as a whole, not a bad way to spend a little bit near 2 hours. So stoked for that. And I will be on at 5 p.m. Pacific for that one specific. Suit negotiable. Not sure. We'll see. Not quite sure. I think might lose this once we're done here.
Nice.
We're going to go to our next one, and this is going to be an update. And I don't know who pitched this one, but Tim, I'm going to make you start on this one. What's going on with Mo and Craig?
I pitched it. I'm not sure what's going on, but I do know that there's a big rap beef going on, I guess. And it's like, I feel like I have to listen to all these rap songs now to keep up with what exactly is going on. Craig put some post out on Instagram with a Kendrick Lamar line, and it was, don't tell no lie about me and I won't tell no truths about you. And then Mo actually responded to the Instagram post and was like, hey man, we were supposed to talk and get face to face months ago. Hit me back up when you're in the US. Craig is like looking for Carmen Sandiego. This guy's all over the place. No, I don't know where he's at. He's constantly in another country right now. So apparently him and Mo can't speak about what's going on with Craig's tournament and all these other things. So Gordon jumped on that thread and he said, look, pussies don't meet face to face. So I'm like, wow, this isn't just Craig Jones v. Mo Jassim. This is Craig Jones v. Mo Jassim, Gordon Ryan, and the Evil Empire with, you know, John Danaher and New Wave. It's pretty juicy to watch as a fan. It's like, yeah, this makes me excited to watch jiu-jitsu again. Let's go. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I thought maybe you guys would know something. Craig's definitely having a tournament, and there's no way he does it on any other day except ADCC weekend. It has to be that day. So I think those are two things you could count on. Outside of that, I don't know.
Jake, what is your take on all this?
I want to defer my minute to Tim. I was like wondering why I didn't bring any popcorn up here when I was listening to that.
Well, okay. I'm gonna override that one, unfortunately. Here's why. I know. I have the ability as moderator to do it. Because here's the only thing. He just said he doesn't know anymore. The I don't know anymore is just him babbling on the same point for another minute or so, and I'd rather not do that when I can just fill in the information myself. So I'll take it upon myself to give you guys some context. Here we go. So on this, put it over on the side panel. Craig Jones was saying, will ADCC competitors have to sign contracts for this year, or can they freely choose which event to participate in without consequences? Now, that's a major sort of thing here, because the contention is it looked like there was a rumor Mo may actually make them sign exclusive contracts, which if you're paying attention to anything here in lawsuits, it does look like you can't really sign people to exclusive contracts. They are starting to crack down on that. There's legislation that would actually be very beneficial to MMA fighters. Now, Mo actually responded and said, double posted, ADCC doesn't do contracts. You have done 4 of them and should know this. Now, granted, that could always change if somebody were to create a alternate sort of thing. So that doesn't mean anything. It says, I ain't doing contracts for 2024. There you go. There's your answer. And it says, if someone wants to compete for you, then do so, but don't tell us last minute. It isn't fair to the reserves. Now, I hear what Mo's saying as a logistics guy. I think to myself, like, yeah, I guess, okay, he's thinking logistically it wouldn't be fair to the reserves. I have news for you. The reserves will come. I don't think they will care. I think that's just an excuse to put in and just say, like, won't somebody think about the reserves? The reserves will be there and kill their own grandmother. That is not an issue for them to come. Like, I understand what you're trying to say here, but I do want to tell you guys, in my brain, I think this is just beef. And I don't know if it's real. I don't know if this is all of them working in cahoots to get us more excited. I'm not in on the circle. I don't pretend I know more anything than I do. Having said that, the byproduct of all of this beef, quote unquote, does give interesting consequences and insights. Because what you might see here is Gordon inserted himself into this drama by saying, and this is something I guess he sent over to Train Angry, and it says, also, Moat, I guess that's Mo, not going to mention the fact that Mo is a JT Torres black belt and that he opened a school for him, or that he paid for Yuri's surgery, or that he paid all the juniors' rents while the 6 were here and set up Craig with Rod with their houses. Of course not. Haha, because you don't even know the source. What is happening here of what actually happened? You here are the delusional alternate reality from a bunch of liars. So here's what happened as a result of this. Gordon got in his feels, and if he did send this, which, I mean, the story and the actual lines match up because broken English, it's very strange that Gordon would offer this up as a result of all of this happening. But I tell you guys, please keep it coming. It's quite enjoyable. Just from an entertaining standpoint of watching it from the background, being like, I didn't do any of this. This is all you guys. Great job, everybody. Keep it going with more information because it's so funny. And with that, yes, we'll move on. I'm glad that, Tim, you pitched that as more of a educate me. What do I need to know? So we move on to our next topic, which is PGF Season 7. Now, here's where things are interesting. I asked you guys, I was like, do you know rumors about stuff? Because much like the Mo and Craig situation, I don't pretend to know things. I just report what I see. Tim, I'm going to start off with you on this one. What do you know for PGF Season 7? Or what can you tease? Because I don't think you're going to fully tell us. But what things are happening in your head?
Man, I'll tell you what I know. I know that the commissioner has a standing appointment each week in Franklin, Tennessee, where I live. And I know where that appointment's at. And I know that I have showed up there and sat down and had breakfast and broke bread and conversed with him. Now, having said that, I can't tell you everything, but I can tell you that there is a coach from Season 6 who is confirmed to come back for Season 7. So that's a truth. I can't tell you which one, but there is going to be a return coach, all right? The other rumor is around coaching, and it's just that there's going to be some big stuff around the coaching. There's going to be some big names, and you're going to go like, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing. So that's what I got right now. The other thing also is the draft is going to be random. That might have already been confirmed by PGF, but they're not going to do guys by order of rank of 1 through 20. They're going to have a randomizer that just goes, okay, now we're bidding on number 4. Now we're bidding on number 12. Like, so that way the ability to kind of build a monetary strategy for the auction kind of gets shot that way. So that's what I got right now. I'd be interested to hear if you guys have anything else on that stuff.
I love that you basically said, hey, I've got some intel. And we go, what is it? You're like, can't tell you, but it's big. And I go, what is big? It's big. It's huge. And I go,
Game changer.
Wait, Okay, but you did give some nuggets there. So we can't confirm or deny any of these. We are not hired guns by them right now. Jake, what do you have, if anything?
So Tim Freeman is so deep in the streets that he had to share some info with me pre-show. He had to say, Jake, I know you got nothing. And I'm like, Tim, you're right. Like, so here, why don't you say this on the show? Here's the deal. I heard from a person who heard, named Tim Freeman, that there is a certain new wave athlete, maybe confirmed for PGF season 7. It's just what I heard. You know what? It was blindsided me as well. So I'm sure that your reaction, Raph, is probably like that right now. The viewers at home can't see, but I see it.
Hey, let me just be very blunt. I don't know shit. So I'm not going to pretend like I know anything. I can tell you we do have somebody who's a representative from the PGF in the chat, and that is Keelan, that says season 7, 205. We do know that. Thank you, sir. And it says draft, this is interesting, will happen a few days before the season, not the day before. That's intriguing. Now I see a finger point. What's up, Jake?
Oh, that's interesting.
I have a rumor. There's a rumor that a certain pre-show host or co-producer, whatever I'm called at PGF, a certain pre-show person will have a super fight on the playoffs day of the PGF World Season 7.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, but I did hear the same rumor. So
yeah, that's not even from
Sorry,
the street.
Man. Yeah, you're going to have to do it, dude.
Hold on. Let me point this out. Someone just said language on my show. My friend, this is the quickest introduction you'll get to me. This is, if you are clutching the pearls on that, just stick around. And it says it's going down in Vegas. We do know that. That's great. Qualifier dates are set. Would be nice to know that. Don't know that. Okay, great. And then it also lets us know there's going to be 4 qualifying tournaments. So you know what? Keelan should have just been brought on this. Why would we just bring him on? He's the one that knows. All of us are just guessing and be like, I hear there's not even going to be mats. And I also heard it's going to be in space. Take that.
I hear they're going to change the name again.
PGF, sure there's going to be
Galaxy.
A qualifier in
so
Nashville.
Jackson Spry says Kevin Burbick for season 7. A lot of exclamation marks.
That's a good choice.
I mean, that's not a bad one.
Kevin Burbick's great.
All right, let's get through these real quick because Jake does have to go, and I do want to get him out. So I'm going to let Jake answer this one first. We go to our next one. It is a prompt that says, training, how is your training going? So we always talk about everybody else, and yeah, we're definitely also martial artists ourselves. And I'd like to start with you, Jake. How is your training going, sir?
Well, I want to get to a point where I can train at least one time per day, Monday through Thursday, hopefully twice a day, and I can lift 3 times a week. That is like the training I just want to do as a base. Right now I have been teaching so much and, traveling 3 weekends out of the month that I just haven't been able to do it. So it's not going as well as I wanted. Today I got some rolls in with a good buddy, Cameron Chaffee of Gracie Humite to Philadelphia. He has mat set up in his garage and we did 3 no-gi rounds. It was nice to just kind of like roll. Cause I want to compete too. Like I want to still like compete as not, I'm not trying to be a world champion or nothing like that. I like competing. I like the feeling of competition and preparing for it. So it's not going as well as I would have liked or I would like, but I imagine as I get more shows and the career in commentary and broadcasting continues to grow and becomes more lucrative, I will have more of an ability to choose my schedule during the week, in which case I can train more.
Fair enough. Now, Jake, we have already gone over your time. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to keep the camera on you. Just plug what you're doing and where people can see you this weekend, sir.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this weekend I'm going to be on Lights Out Extreme Fighting. That is Sean Merriman's promotion. I will be commentating alongside my color commentator / co-host, Bulletproof Blake Troop, who is a mutual friend of the Grappling Hour.
Correct.
And you guys can catch that on the Lights Out app. Go to lightsoutxf.com and download their app. It will be rebroadcast on Fubo, and I hear that it's going to be rebroadcast actually on Fox Sports as well. So I'll be doing that. The following weekend, I'll be at AIGA in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. I'll be there for like 5 days. It's going to be a 2-day event. I'll be commentating alongside Howell Teague there. And a week after that is the IBJJF World Championship. I'll be commentating alongside Danny O'Donnell on Flow Grappling once again. But make sure you guys who are tuning in, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow it on everything at Jake Watson Media. Thank you so much, Raf and Tim. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.
Wait, are you going to be with us next week? What are you traveling?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Well, I'm going to see you, Raf, on like Friday or Saturday because
yeah. I mean, I'm arranging that, but I'm just trying to figure out like, are you here next Wednesday? Am I replacing you? What's happening?
I don't know. I'll tell you.
All right, get out of here. All right, Jake Watson, everybody.
What? Don't exhale at me like an angry father.
I don't know. I'm trying to make a plan for next week. We got a show here. Jake, you're late.
Bits.
I'm trying to get you out.
I know.
I can't leave.
Okay.
I can't go.
Make sure you guys tune into the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. It's tonight, right?
Watch that, but watch me. Don't watch just theirs. It. We love
Brandon, watch the Grappling Hour.
Commentary. Thank you.
Two tabs.
Two tabs. All right, Jake. Thank you very much. Go enjoy your night.
Love you guys.
See you, Jake.
All right. I'm going to do something right now. This is kind of tough because I didn't have this prepped, but you're going to see happen in real time. You're going to see
I know what you can do.
Me switch the board so that it's just the two of us. The problem is I have last week's board in here, so you're going to see it happen in real time. Watch how this happens in real time right now. Here, Tim Freeman. Bam, you got switched to the other side. And this was you last week. So, yes, these were all the board topics that we did with your photo on it, by the way.
Dang.
So, hey, man, listen, you sent that, and I knew we had to run with it. And technically, you appeared on the show. So,
yeah,
you didn't have any lines, but in entertainment biz, that still would get you paid if it was a real show. So I'm just saying. Yeah. You guys looking out for you here.
I'm learning from you, dude. I'm learning, man.
Hey, man, I am nothing more than just a bunless source of information. Shit, I did realize there's something else missing here, too. All right, we're making this work. Okay, PGF Season 7 training. Let's go to your training. Tim, how is your training going, sir?
So my training is actually not too bad. Once I got back from being sick, I managed to get quite a few rounds in. We did 10-round Tuesday last night. And I got to tell you guys something. I put the gi back on. I did like 4 rounds with my students. They're like, oh, man, we want to train with you in the gi. We never did it. It was so much fun, especially because they have no concept of the collar and how the collar works. So for me, I just felt like granddad laying on the ground, just collar choke, collar choke, collar choke, collar choke, collar, just over. And I felt like I was obliged to do that. Like, why would I try anything else? They want to fight in the gi, so I'm just going to tie them up with it the entire time. I had a really great time. So training's been going pretty well. I didn't do any boxing this week. I usually get 1 boxing lesson in, but I wasn't able to do that. So I'm going to push that to next week. But overall, man, it's going good, dude. I feel good. I'm 46 years old, still getting out there banging, man. So
listen, dude, props to you. It's as somebody as a fellow old, I understand and hear exactly what you're mentioning here. I do want to bring this up because I had a little bit of come up. It's happened to me. So right as I was training over on Monday, I had a student, and I sometimes do an inverted class structure. So I'll let them roll first, so that way I can see what they're messing up. And we have a couple guys, for whatever reason, there was a couple guys who just wouldn't stay to roll at the end. So we'd like end right so they have enough time to roll. And they're like, nope, gotta go. And I go, what is wrong? Like, why would you want to roll? This is the best part. Yeah. So we do the inverted structure. And then like the first couple times they're like, wait, I have to roll. And I was like, it's part of the class now. Womp womp. So I get this new kid. He shows up. And the guy comes over to me and he goes, one of my regulars, he goes, hey, man, let him know that his nails are a little. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. I go, okay, I'll make mention of it at the end of class. And so I see this dude rolling and he's asking questions and all that. And then I'm like, hey, man, I'll roll with you. You're kind of spazzing out here. No problem. My man then proceeds to chop part of my fingers, which is up in the top right over here. So other than this, the training is going fine, but the amount of sterilization I spent afterwards being like, ugh, and I got a note from somebody be like, I hope you're up on your rabies shots. And I was like, you know what? Oof. That's valid. That's a valid joke. I'm just going to sit here. But now it's to the point where I'm thinking how it's going to affect my other training, and it makes me irked because I'm in a space now where I go, oh, it didn't bother me, but now if it ruins my training. Blah. But anyway, otherwise, training going okay. There is a possibility I get to train with Jake. Now,
That'd be cool.
He's not here right now, right?
Yeah, no, he's gone, man.
Okay. Like you guys
He's probably listening, but
he's 100% listening. He'll be in the chat. He'll be a civilian in the chat, and that's perfectly fine. But like you and him kind of got into like a thing. And like it's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? But it was like definitely a thing. And I'm wondering, Tim, at what cost are you willing to get inside intel? Like I will start the bidding for you very soon. Should you want to find out certain information? Because you got some intel and you were like, this Jake Watson, he could be beat.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got you. We got to figure out like a little a specialized like secret intel on his style, so you can develop some kind of tools and tactics to.
Because I don't want to say too much. I don't know who pitched this one.
Yeah,
I don't. Did you pitch this topic?
Training? Yeah, I did.
Okay. I was wondering if he pitched it because when I saw that video, you know, he mentioned he was training in the garage, and I was like, oh, I saw it.
Yeah,
I definitely saw something.
Yeah.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought, you know what Jake did? I think he trained so he would have something to say during the training segment. He's like, I better do something, man. Come to my garage. We'll train in the garage.
It made me laugh where I was like, listen, I fully expect to have a very good training session if he does make it out to train. But I also know he's going to have a weird schedule. So we'll see. At the very least, I think I'm going to try and see him for some food if I can. But yeah, it's a very funny thing. So I'm just saying, just get your wallet ready. And speaking of getting your wallet ready, I did see this comment over here from the commish. Get this, dude. They're adding a warning track on the mats. Now, Keelan, I need some kind of information on what that means. Like, is there like a box that you throw the flag into? Is there like a warning area so that they don't go off and become Andy Varela again? I don't know what exactly that means. So some context there would be great. Number two teams are locked in, 2 more left. Sponsors better get their wallets ready and come on before they miss out. So, okay. And we're talking like,
I bet I could pick those 2.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
So when you said one coach was confirmed back, I can tell you the one I think I'd like to see back.
Yeah.
Off air.
Tell me who.
I'll just tell you off air. No. That's a tease. And it says official PGF referee training has begun. Well, I have some news for you guys. It's mostly that you go work fast food and people scream at you in your face and tell you that you got the order wrong. And if you could sustain that training, you too can be a PGF referee. There's nothing more I love about this than people realizing, like the refs were showing me the memes that they got made about them. And I thought that's pretty amazing. Oh, and yeah, amazing. I mean, it's a selfless gig, you know, they're just trying to help people out here. So,
literally all you could do is mess up.
Interesting. Oh, okay. So this is kind of what I wasn't fully wrong with this one. It says, think baseball warning track. And we are attempting to create an actual out of bounds boundary. The only thing that can take place out of bounds is a submission. I like it.
They should put a dirt warning track in.
Needs a pit.
Dirt track.
Needs a pit. Everybody knows. It's just the same answer.
Pit or nothing.
No, I do like that because I'm on the big, I think we look cheap when we go outside for too much. But locking in a submission, I do get that. You don't want to lose your position when you've really, really earned it. And we did see some submissions happen off the mats. I'm legit worried about some of these people's giant noggins getting on the mats because they are willing to go to great lengths to get these submissions.
Yeah, they are. Like, well, we saw a few. You're right up on the couches. We saw the couches actually come into play in the submissions. It's just what's going to happen, like, at the end of the warning track. What's going to be there? A couch? Like the feet of, you know, the ex-Marshall crew? Is it a dog? Like, what's going to be there, dude? You know what I mean?
You know what's going to be great?
We should put, like, what's that?
I was going to say, we give them kick shields so that they, like, as soon as things start getting in, they get, like, American Gladiators and they just start doing this. They're like, nope, no, sir, you will not be going after us today. So that's kind of what I'm hoping here.
Great.
This is so stupid.
That'd be great.
Yep. I
It'd be
think, you know,
great.
everybody who is in the front rows next time, I don't know if they know this, they're going to have to sign a waiver that's just like, you're here at your own discretion. Like, Godspeed and God bless. We don't know how to protect you. So there is that. So thank you for that on that one as well. And it says, ooh, time in the warning track gets a penalty. I need to think about that one.
Like, how are they going to play it when guys try to game it by pushing their competitors into the track? Then it's like freestyle wrestling. If you push your opponent out of bounds, you get a point.
And then
Which isn't necessarily a terrible thing. But
No. I'm trying to visualize it, so I don't have a positive or negative to it yet. All I'm thinking about is who's tracking that. So I think production first. I'm like, who's in charge of keeping that clock together? And then as a result of that, do we see that clock? Now, granted, I'm usually pretty much in sub only. Like, you don't need a clock. We went through this. We talked about this late one night.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I do like this. It says front row is called the splash zone. Didn't I say that? And there is a real waiver. I was right. Wow. Look at this. This guy is way more informed than we thought he was. Although I think most of that's just common sense, but I'll take it. So dope. Splash zone. And it says 5 referees in total. Okay, we're getting a lot of really good, juicy information here, Tim. I feel like we have written this very, very well. So what I want to do right now is I want to, because when I do prepare for these things, I do a really good job, and then people change things on me. And when they change things on me, it takes me a second to readjust, because I was not planning on not having a young Jake Watson having to dart off, but we did start a little bit after, so I'm not mad at him. I'm not. Don't say that. I just had a visual for the end bit that we were going to do here. So this was going to be the last thing that we are going to show for the board before we kind of take whatever questions or thoughts you guys might have here. So give me just a second and you guys will see what I'm talking about, but it should be prepared to go here in, let's say, 10 seconds. So count me down here.
10, 9, let's go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bam, check this out. So this is our last topic for today, and it is actually a segment that we're calling Pokemon Go. Why is that? Because these folks here actually use jiu-jitsu to subdue somebody who was trying to steal $30,000 to $40,000 worth of Pokemon Go cards. As a result of it, this dude, seen here looking like an idiot, has been apprehended by somebody. This woman was explaining how she tried to tell him, stop, please don't take these cards. What are you doing? And there just happened to be 2 gentlemen who train over at an MMA gym, and they said that they use their jiu-jitsu to subdue him. So you'll see it right here. They immediately go, and I mean, you see all of them combining forces. We go some knee on belly, a little bit of ground control, and yeah, they were able to make sure that this person wasn't going to hurt them, even though the person here said he was going to use a pipe cutter and start to attack them. So it just goes to show here, kids, all of your nerd tendencies can all live in one coexisted sort of balance, because you got jiu-jitsu, you got the Pokemon Go, and yes, you too can live out your dream of saving 40,000 worth of Pokemon Go cards, which I guess begs the question here. What is the best use of jiu-jitsu you have seen in the real world? I ask this to you, Tim Freeman.
The best use of jiu-jitsu in the real world, man, there's so many examples of people using jiu-jitsu in self-defense situations, but there's one in particular, and I would say it's a little more judo, but jiu-jitsu's kind of judo. We all know that. So there's a scene where it's in a liquor store, man, and a dude's trying to rob another dude, and the guy that's getting attacked hits a beautiful hip throw and throws this dude into like a big stand of like European candy. It's like not even good American candy. It's like the European stuff. Like bam, threw him in there. It went everywhere. It was a clean throw. The other one was the I think it was in Japan, where a dude did like a tomonagi in one of their political meetings. They had suits on and everything, and a little melee broke out, and dude grabbed him by the lapels and tomonagi'd him over his head. I was like, that's well played, my friend, well played. But Pokemon, using jujitsu to save Pokemon, that's like a nerd's daydream fantasy. Like, I'm gonna use my BJJ, and then they're gonna give me the rarest Charizard card that ever existed because they had a whole booty of Pokemon that this guy was trying to take. That's a fantastic story, man. That is really
Yeah, you know, I mean, listen, dude, I was legitimately surprised that I could find it. I didn't know that this was going to be something that does exist. But when you do see it and you do kind of see the people being like, oh, did you guys know that some nerd shit went down? And I go, oh no, who did what? And my first thing, anytime I see something that's related to jiu-jitsu is always, what did we do? Like, did we do something good or was it bad? And in this one, it was a very good story. And I was very happy to hear that. And especially when this woman saying, oh yeah, they were trying to steal $40,000 worth of cards. I go, I don't really care about the cards, but the worth of the cards, yikes. So I guess the real question I have here is, did people actually get money from doing that? Like, do these civilians get anything? Because unfortunately, jiu-jitsu people are not always the smartest people. So they may not be asking for, like, is there reward money? When you tell me something's worth 30 to 40,000, I'm going to be like, so like 5K? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying finder's fee. It's like a good 10% maybe here somewhere. And you got to split it with somebody else because there was like 2 or 3 people that helped. So, you know, you want to be able to split this out and be fair about it. So here's what I'm going to say. We were able to make it through all of the topics. Tim, for you, did you have anything that kind of resonated with you this week or that you're looking forward to in anticipation for the weeks to come? Because yes, I know Jake mentioned he's going to be very, very busy, but it does bring up there's a lot more stuff happening. So yes, tonight we do have the Fight Pass Invitational. In a couple weeks, there's definitely EBI. But what is something that you are looking forward to on your docket here, sir?
So, I mean, there's a few things, like obviously EBI is going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. EBI just holds a special place in my heart as a grappling event. So I'm for sure can't wait to see that. On top of that, I'm very interested in Mikey Musumeci and Rutolo. I think that's going to be a cool fight. It's still kind of off in the future a ways, but I am keeping my eye on that. In the short term, I'm getting Mr. Lockdown Matt Walsh himself to come up to Nashville over Memorial Day weekend. We're going to do a podcast on the 24th, and he's going to do a seminar out here on the lockdown on the 25th. And we're going to work that out. It's either going to be no cost or donation, or it's going to be very inexpensive for people to learn, because we really feel like it's so important that everybody understands the lockdown and how to deal with it. Obviously, it's a very controversial move still. I thought we settled that 20 years ago, but, you know, it's still one of those things. So that's pretty much, you know, what I'm looking forward to, you know, long term. Eddie Bravo's coming out June 25th to Nashville. Nice. I'm super excited for that. Yeah. The whole community's like, Eddie's a superstar. You know, when Eddie comes out, you got people who don't train jiu-jitsu who show up. They're just like, we want to see him. So I'm really looking forward to that, man.
Isn't it his birthday today too?
Yeah, it is actually. Happy birthday, Eddie Bravo. And I think it's Zoltan's birthday today, too.
That's right. Oh, my God. Yeah. We got power players here at the PGF. Speaking of which, we did get a question from Conscious Keelan, and I'm going to shoot this one to you first. And it says, if you could change, add, or remove one thing from PGF, what would you do?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I think if I could add, I don't think I would remove anything, but I definitely believe that, and I've expressed this is not rocket science, I for sure think we need graphics in a very meaningful, repeated way that the fans at home that are watching can understand right off the bat. You need 2 or 3 killer statistics that are like, you know, akin to batting average, RBIs, and home runs, or on base percentage, or you need those kinds of things to keep people engaged. So that way, if they can't watch the full 5 hours, whenever they jump in, they have an immediate context. Like, this is where we're at. This is the leaderboard. This is where this guy's at. This is why this match is compelling. And I think those are all challenges that can be overcome. Those are not like challenges that can't be solved. So I'm looking forward to that. I think they're going to most likely bring that in the next season. So, but for me, I think that's one of the biggest improvements they can make.
It's a very solid one. For me, I mean, there's so much that was good that I want to make sure we're very clear on saying, like, there's a lot of really well done shots on goal. I had mentioned the idea of wanting to do a magic wall for Egghead. I think getting him with the graphics to go along with what Tim was saying there and having him set the table. And what I mean by that is you let him know, like, oh, this person's very close to being eliminated. Statistically, they need for this and this to happen. So with that in mind, I'd like to pitch what's referred to as like a reset every single end of a block. Because the problem is people are used to leagues, but they're spaced out. Our shit happens all at once. So I think a way that you do that is at the end of a block, you do a graphics recap, which says, hey guys, just to let you know where the standings are right now. Now you need to have a team that is going to be dedicated to that. We had some of our guys who were doing like multiple jobs. So I think as we expand it, it would be great to have that on there. I don't know. I think we're still in the infancy of seeing how the referees get used and the extent to which they take the brunt of the criticism. Because I know that some people were saying, yeah, you could just game it. Everything's a stall. This is a stall. And yet we did see more action very considerably when we got more aggressive with that. So I don't know that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think we're still in our research and development stage on that one. But I'll tell you this much. I still think we should be getting a camera on the back of that. Like it's the dad getting the belt out of their buckle and literally just like, I will come over there. I think you do the same thing, back shot with that flag about to be raised. Like I will throw this. Do not make me stop this tournament right now. I will throw this flag. So there's that. I've been trying to figure out a little bit more on how we get the coaches to either do like a challenge flag or something to that effect. 'Cause I haven't worked that out. I'd like to get the coaches involved in some way, other than just giving advice and coaching there. I think
have them engaged a little bit. Yeah, I agree with you.
There's something I haven't cracked the code there yet. And this is still new. Like this is still all of us playing with it in this format and this big of a scenario. And you've seen the PGF refine things over the years. I think a lot of my stuff is usually TV stuff. So it's usually like, how does the audience learn? What do they take away from it? How are you resetting after each bracket? And this is still the one I want to go off of because I was told for whatever reason, Nathan's match where he was the last one statistically that could go in basically was still going to be the 28th match, not the 30th match when X Marshall was already going to win. So if the team was already going to win, there's no reason to see 30 matches, but you have to do it just to finish it out. Fine. But then you put like a flex position. You flex out the teams as you did, and you flex out the order. So I get if they're connected to smooth comp, you have to deal with that at that point. I think you put Nathan as the 30th match because it's the one that has implications to it. It's sort of like doing knees down at the end of a football game, and it works in that way because everybody starts celebrating and the TVs know to get that caption. Here, you lose that momentum, people might turn it off because with football, everybody's been conditioned to know you got the Lombardi, you've got to stick around for the post interviews, there's confetti, you don't know what's going to happen. We don't have that mystique yet. Yeah. So I think you have to curtail that and teach the audiences like, don't leave. Stay here because even though the team has won, we got to see if their member is still going to advance to the playoffs tomorrow. And here's how you do it. And I think that becomes part of the resetting. Like, it needs graphics. It needs a center person to hold that down. And they do a good job audibly talking about it on air. So TJ definitely does a great job. Brandon does a good job. But I think that when you do that, it shapes how you do the interviews. Because I felt like in the second round of the fourth day of action, we did a quick interview with PJ. And it was, hey, just so you know, like, it's close, right? It's PJ, it's coming down to this next round. You got to get a choke. And if you don't get a choke, how do you feel your chances are going to be? Or, hey, PJ, you do know you have to do this. You're 6 points down. What does that mean for your next round? And when you hear that, then it becomes, oh, no, it's not just it's close. It's attainable. And especially if you got a choke +1, it's like you have the potential to get 7 points, which means he wouldn't be just 7th or 8th. He could be 6th. So when people start to understand that, then you get people playing along in that. So last little thing I'll pitch. more fantasy, like a little bit more of that element. Let's talk about the audience members and how they're implementing it. One thing that we tried to do on our show was, much to Jake's chagrin, like we wanted to create this idea that fantasy was important, and you're seeing him have a reaction to me doing well. Like, that's fun, but I think that if you talk about it from the people who are watching, it's another way of letting the peanut gallery who's at home knowing they're a part of the show.
Yeah.
So even though they're not celebrities, like we don't have live tweets that we're implementing yet, but the UFC does, hint, it would be cool that the audience still sees themselves as reflected as part of the show. And I think it's a real easy way to implement them. Like you do kind of an update twice a show or once a day, whatever it is. And you just say like, by the way, here are our current fantasy draft leaders as presented by DraftKings or by this. And you say like, we want to give a big shout out to them, but you know what? The week's not over. So, you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, maybe we just do that. Yeah, screw that. You guys don't take that idea. I'll take that idea. Yoink. Into this pocket, and I'll save it for
That's a
next
take
season.
back. Yeah, if you put it in your pocket, it's official.
It's 100% official. These guys can't take it back. Tim, let's do this. Let's go ahead and round the bases. Tell the people where they can find you, good sir.
Yes. You can find me at Inside BJJ on all your social media platforms, InsideBJJ.com. This week, we have Max Hansen tomorrow night. And also Drew Foster. He is the co-commissioner of the PGF, a good friend of mine. I'm super excited to have them on. Over the weekend, I'm taking a bunch of wrestlers down to Duluth, Georgia for a wrestling tournament. So if you happen to be there, make sure you come and say hi. That'd be actually pretty hilarious. Every once in a while, I do run into somebody that is like, hey, I heard you on Inside BJJ. And my first thing is like, I'm sorry. What did I say? I don't know. But yeah, man, that's what we got going on. Drop us a line. Check it out.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Tim. All right, guys, just a couple quick reminders. One, if you like the show, normally I'm wearing one of these, which is just a regular Grappling Hour t-shirt. You can get one of those by going over to rafesparza.com/merch, or you can go over to grapplinghour.com. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. It really does mean a lot wherever you're watching this, whether it's Tim's channel, Inside BJJ, Jake Watson Media, Jake Watson's channel, or my channel, The Grappling Hour. Wherever you're watching, we just appreciate you guys being here, and we hope you enjoy the show. And we hope that you see a lot of the stuff that we do when we combine forces. I know a lot of you, if you're watching from those individual channels, you don't see me as much, but we hope that you guys get to see us more and more and more. And if you know certain organizations want to get involved with us, hit your boy up, RAF ESPARZA, and we'll make something happen. Additionally, few other last reminders. If you didn't have anything to comment on, tell us what you'd like to improve. We'll put this comment back up here from Conscious Keelan back again. If you could add, change, or remove one thing from the PGF, what would you do? I'm going to pose that to you guys in the comment section if you're watching this after the fact. It's a big question. I think it's an important one to ask. And we're not opposed to feedback. Just don't be a dick. Really, that's really what it comes down to. That's about it. Also, tonight, I'm going to be on the air from 5 p.m. on. I'll be watching the UFC Fight Pass Invitational. Our good friend Brandon McCatherine is doing commentary. We love him, but if you don't want to listen to him, you want to listen to me, hey, turn it on, mute them, turn me up. That's it. We can drink on the show, too. They can't. So we got that coming up and much, much more. We also have interviews here coming up very soon with Cody Steele, Liz Mitrovic, Gabriel Aston Daffron, and we just did one yesterday with Anthony Orozco. So definitely servicing all members of our great extended MMA and jiu-jitsu community. My friends, I think that's pretty much going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. We appreciate you for watching. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.